The golden evening sun shined through the tall windows of La Passion, one of the fanciest restaurants in Beverly Hills. The chandeliers sparkled, casting a warm glow over the white tablecloths and shiny silverware. Rich and famous people often came here to eat, away from the flashing cameras of photographers. Jackie Chan, a legend in martial arts and movies, sat quietly at a small table in the corner. He wore simple black clothes and reading glasses, looking at the menu with a small smile. He had eaten here many times with his close friend Marcus, who owned the restaurant. Jackie enjoyed coming here. It was peaceful. He liked the quiet clinking of forks and glasses, the soft hum of conversation, and the smell of delicious food in the air. But tonight, something was about to happen that would test his patience. A waitress named Vanessa Morrison walked up to Jackie's table. She was in her mid-30s with blonde hair pulled into a tight bun. She wore the restaurant's black and white uniform, just like all the waiters and waitresses. But unlike the others, she had a mean look on her face. She did not recognize Jackie. Instead of greeting him nicely, she looked at him with a sneer. "Can I help you?" she asked in a cold voice. Jackie looked up at her with kind eyes. He had seen this kind of treatment before. It wasn't new to him. But he had learned over the years to stay calm in these moments. "Yes, thank you," Jackie said politely. "I would like to order." But Vanessa cut him off before he could finish. "Are you sure you're in the right place?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "The food here is very expensive." Jackie's smile faded just a little. The restaurant became silent. A few people turned their heads, now paying attention to the conversation. An old couple sitting at the next table exchanged shocked looks. Jackie stayed calm. He folded his hands on the table. "I've been coming here for 15 years, he said softly. "I know the menu quite well." Vanessa laughed, not a nice laugh but a mocking one. 15 years? I've worked in the best restaurants in Europe. I think I would know if someone like you was a regular here. A young busboy, Leo, standing nearby, looked nervous. He knew exactly who Jackie Chan was. He tried to speak up. "Miss Morrison, that's Jackie Chan." "Be quiet, Leo," Vanessa snapped. "I know what I'm doing." She turned back to Jackie with a stern look. "Sir," she said loudly so others could hear, "if you can't afford our food, I'll have to ask you to leave." More people gasped. Jackie sighed. He slowly reached for his wallet, not to prove he had money but to take out his ID. He hoped showing her his name would calm the situation. But Vanessa misunderstood. She thought Jackie was desperate to prove he could pay. She smirked and called out, "Security? We have someone here who needs to be escorted out." The whole restaurant was watching now. Many guests pulled out their phones, recording what was happening. Some even started posting on social media, shocked by how Jackie was being treated. Jackie sat still, keeping his hands folded. He had faced rude people before. He had dealt with judgment and discrimination. But still it hurt. Just then the front doors swung open. A familiar voice filled the air. Marcus, Jackie's close friend and the owner of La Passion, walked in. His usual funny, cheerful energy was gone. Instead he looked serious. He wore a perfectly tailored suit, and his presence made everyone pay attention. "What the hell is going on in my restaurant?" he asked, his voice strong. Vanessa turned around, her face suddenly pale. "Mr. Tucker, I was just removing this man who doesn't belong here." Marcus's eyes widened. "Doesn't belong?" he repeated in disbelief. He pointed at Jackie. "That man is Jackie Chan. He's an international superstar, my best friend, and the godfather to my kids. He's been dining here longer than I've owned this place." Vanessa's mouth dropped open. The whole restaurant murmured. Some people smiled, knowing she was about to get in big trouble. Marcus stepped closer. His voice was calm but firm. "Jackie Chan has brought more honor, respect, and class to this restaurant than you ever could," he said. "He is not just a customer, he is family." Then Marcus walked over to Jackie. Jackie had stayed calm the entire time, but when Marcus put a hand on his shoulder, he finally smiled. Marcus hugged him like a brother. "Brother, I'm so sorry about this," Marcus said loudly. Jackie stood up. He gently placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. "No need for anger, my friend," Jackie said kindly. "Everyone makes mistakes. Maybe this can be a lesson." The entire restaurant clapped. Some of the older guests wiped their eyes, touched by Jackie's kindness. Marcus turned to Vanessa. "In this restaurant," he said, "we judge people by their hearts, not by how they look. Jackie has shown his heart. You have shown yours. You're fired." Vanessa stumbled back, her face red. But I didn't know," she stammered. Marcus shook his head. "That's the problem," he said. "You didn't try to know. Vanessa turned and ran out of the restaurant, too ashamed to stay. Marcus looked at the rest of the staff. "Let this be a lesson," he said. "Every person who walks through these doors deserves respect." Marcus turned back to Jackie. "Now, my brother," he said with a big grin, "let me cook for you tonight. I've been practicing a new recipe." Jackie laughed. "You don't have to cook for me." Marcus shook his head. "After what happened? No way. I'm making you something special." They walked into the kitchen together, Marcus's arm around Jackie's shoulder. The chefs and workers in the kitchen watched in awe. They had all seen how strong the friendship between these two men was. Marcus put on an apron. "Tonight I'm making you my best dish." Jackie smiled. "You know," he said, "this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Usually I just leave quietly." Marcus stopped cooking and looked at Jackie seriously. "And that's exactly why it needs to stop," he said. Jackie nodded. "The world is changing," he said softly. "Slowly, but it's changing." Out in the restaurant, guests were still talking about what happened. Many were sharing their own stories of being treated unfairly. Just then an old man walked to the kitchen door. "I'd like to speak with Marcus," he said kindly. Marcus wiped his hands and went to meet him. The lesson of the night had been learned. "And Jackie?" He simply smiled, knowing that kindness had once again won the day. The man introduced himself as Richard Thompson. He was an old lawyer who used to fight for people's rights. His voice was strong and filled with wisdom. "Mr. Tucker," Richard said seriously, "I saw everything that happened tonight. The way you handled it was exactly what we always fought for: respect, fairness, and kindness all together." Marcus felt touched by Richard's words. He smiled and nodded. "Thank you, sir," he said warmly. "I learned from the best." Then he pointed at Jackie, who was across the room talking with some of the kitchen workers. Jackie was telling stories from his movie days, making the staff laugh with his funny memories. Richard continued, "Your friend was amazing too. He stayed calm and strong even in a tough situation. We need more people like that in the world, people who are both brave and kind at the same time." Marcus felt inspired by Richard's words and returned to his cooking with new energy. He wanted to make a dish that represented his friendship with Jackie, something that showed how different cultures could come together beautifully. He decided to use classic French cooking techniques with bold Asian flavors. He carefully seared the scallops, making sure they were golden brown and cooked just right. Then he made a special ginger sauce to go with them. When he served the dish to Jackie, his friend took a bite and smiled. "This is incredible," Jackie said, truly enjoying the flavors. As they ate, some of the restaurant workers came over to say sorry for not stepping in earlier during the incident. They looked guilty and ashamed. But Jackie, always kind and humble, shook his head and smiled. "There's no need to apologize," he said gently. "Sometimes these moments teach their own lessons. Getting angry only makes things worse. But understanding? That brings light into the world." Outside, the story of what happened was spreading fast. A small crowd of fans had gathered outside the restaurant. Some held up signs supporting Jackie, while others praised Marcus for standing up for his friend. But inside, away from the noise and attention, Marcus and Jackie were just two old friends enjoying a meal together, just as they had for years. Marcus's phone kept buzzing. He saw messages from famous people showing their support, but he ignored them for now. This moment wasn't about publicity or fame, it was about true friendship. Jackie took another bite and suddenly smiled. "You know what this reminds me of?" he asked. "That time on the set of Rush Hour 2 when we sneaked away from the fancy catering to eat at that small family restaurant in Hong Kong?" Marcus laughed loudly, remembering. "Man, those dumplings were the best I ever had. And the owner's face when she realized who you were, priceless." Jackie chuckled. "She was surprised by you too. She said she had never seen anyone eat so many dumplings so fast." Their laughter filled the kitchen, making everyone smile. It was a beautiful moment of friendship, reminding everyone that no matter how famous someone is, they are still just people at heart. As the night went on, the restaurant workers finished their closing routine. The sound of clinking dishes and running water created a peaceful background as the friends continued their conversation. Marcus leaned back in his chair, watching as Jackie helped a young dishwasher properly stack plates. It was such a small thing, but it showed so much about Jackie's character. He was a big star, yet he never acted like he was better than anyone else. He always treated everyone with kindness and respect. "You know what bothers me?" Marcus said after a moment. "That woman Vanessa. She probably went home tonight thinking she was the victim." Jackie carefully placed the last plate down and turned to Marcus. "Actually, I was thinking about her," he said thoughtfully. "Maybe we should do something different." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Different? Brother, she disrespected you in my restaurant. She's lucky she just got fired. Jackie nodded. That's exactly why. What if we turn this into something good? Remember what we always said in Rush Hour? It's not about fighting, it's about understanding. Marcus started to smile. I know that look. You have an idea, don't you? Jackie pulled his chair closer. What if we start a program right here at Le Passion? We could teach restaurant workers about respect, kindness, and different cultures. We could share stories, bring in different people, and help them learn. Make it about growth, not punishment. The kitchen went quiet as everyone listened. Leo, the young busboy who had tried to help earlier, stepped forward. Mr. Chan, Mr. Tucker. I think that's a great idea. My grandma was treated badly when she first came to America. She always said education is the key to change. Marcus stood up, excited. Jackie, this is why you're a legend. You take something bad and turn it into something beautiful. We could call it the Respect Table Program. Jackie smiled gently. And we should invite Vanessa to be the first person to join? Marcus stared at him. Wait, what? Her? Then he burst into laughter. Man, just when I think I've got you figured out, you surprise me. You really want to give her a second chance? Jackie nodded. Second chances matter. When I first came to Hollywood, many people gave me a chance when they didn't have to. One moment of kindness can change a life. Outside, the restaurant was almost empty, but the elderly couple from earlier was still there. The woman knocked on the kitchen door. Marcus invited her in and she introduced herself. My name is Rosa Delgado, she said. I used to be a teacher. My husband and I have been coming here for years. What happened tonight, the bad and the good, it reminded us of our own story. When we got married in 1965, not everyone was kind to a mixed-race couple. Marcus pulled up a chair for her. But people like you, people willing to stand up for what's right, help change hearts and minds, Rosa continued. This program you're talking about, it's exactly what we need. Jackie reached out and held her hand. Would you and your husband share your story in our program? Real stories help people learn better than any lesson. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. We would be honored. You know, my grandkids grew up watching your movies. They learned about courage from you, Mr. Chan. And laughter, from both of you. Just then there was noise at the front of the restaurant. Leo ran in. Vanessa is back. She's asking to speak with you both. She's been crying. She's holding her work uniform. Marcus looked at Jackie, who gave a small nod. Let her in, Marcus said. But Leo, stay close. Vanessa walked into the kitchen. She wasn't acting proud or rude anymore. She looked truly sorry. She held her uniform tightly and couldn't even look them in the eyes. Marcus and Jackie exchanged a glance. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the beginning of something better. As she talks, I go home and call my mom. I tell her everything that happened at the restaurant. She listens carefully and then reminds me of something I had forgotten. Our family came to this country as immigrants 3 generations ago, she says. Back then people treated us unfairly too. We faced discrimination just like Jackie did today. I feel a lump in my throat. I had forgotten that history. I had forgotten what my grandparents went through. And now I had become the kind of person they fought against. Jackie stands up slowly. He walks toward Vanessa, calm and kind, just like he has been all evening. He doesn't look angry. Instead, his face is gentle, understanding. Sometimes our worst moments help us change for the better, he says. He gestures toward the table, inviting Vanessa to sit. Vanessa wipes her eyes. She looks around the kitchen. Some faces are kind and understanding while others still seem unsure. I don't deserve your kindness, she says in a small voice. What I did, there's no excuse. Marcus nods. You're right, he says, but he doesn't sound angry. There is no excuse. But you can still grow and change. Jackie smiles at her. We were just talking about something, he says. And maybe you're the perfect person to help us start it? Vanessa looks confused. Me? She asks. After everything I did? As they explain their idea for a program called the Respect Table, Vanessa's face begins to change. At first, she looks ashamed, but then, a small light of hope appears in her eyes. You really want me to be part of this? She asks. Jackie nods. Who better than you? He says. You've seen both sides now. You made the mistake, but you also realized it was wrong. Your story can help other people understand. Rosa, who has been sitting quietly, speaks up. When my husband and I first came here, we faced discrimination, she says. But some of our strongest allies were people who had once been unfair too. They understood how much their actions had hurt, and they wanted to make things better. Marcus suddenly grabs his phone, excited. I know restaurant owners all over Los Angeles, he says. We can make this big. not just for our restaurant but for the whole city. Leo, who has been listening, speaks up. Mr. Tucker, what if we also share success stories? Like my grandmother, she was once refused service at restaurants, but now she owns one. Everyone starts talking at once, full of energy. A cook shares how he went from being homeless to becoming a head chef. A waitress talks about how she struggled as a single mother but worked hard to earn respect in the restaurant business. Jackie watches all of this with a quiet smile. He leans toward Marcus and whispers, "See? Sometimes the best dishes come from unexpected ingredients." Marcus laughs. "Only you could take getting disrespected and turn it into a movement for change. That's why you're Jackie Chan." As the night goes on, they make real plans. Vanessa, still emotional but now determined, takes notes on her phone. They decide that the respect table will include monthly dinners with community leaders, training sessions about different cultures, personal stories from people who face discrimination, activities to teach kindness and understanding, job connections for restaurant workers. Rosa and her husband offer to host the first event in 2 weeks. Marcus starts calling restaurant owners, and even though it's late, many of them answer right away. That's how much people respect him. Outside, the last cars of the night drive down the road. Inside, the kitchen is still full of excitement. Jackie sits with Vanessa and shows her a Chinese tea ceremony. "You know what this reminds me of?" Marcus asks, watching them. "That scene we cut from Rush Hour 3, the one about the tea ceremony. We thought it was too serious for the movie. But look at us now." Jackie carefully pours tea into a small cup. "Movies entertain," he says. "But real life changes people." Vanessa watches him, then carefully copies what he does. Her hands shake a little, but she holds the cup just as he taught her. "I never thought my biggest mistake would lead to something like this," she says. "I only came back to apologize, maybe beg for my job back." Marcus smiles. "Instead, you're helping create something bigger than yourself. That's what growth looks like." They continue talking, sharing ideas and making plans. Before they know it, the first light of morning shines through the kitchen windows. But no one is tired. They are too excited about the future. What started as one moment of discrimination has turned into something much bigger, a chance for real change. The restaurant looks different tonight. The tables have been pushed together to form a big circle. The golden lights shine on a room filled with people, restaurant owners, workers, community leaders, and others who heard about the respect table and wanted to be part of it. Jackie sits between Marcus and Vanessa. This time, Vanessa isn't wearing her server's uniform. Instead, she's dressed in nice business clothes. She looks confident. She spent the last 2 weeks helping to plan this event, reaching out to restaurant workers from all over the city. "I never thought I'd feel nervous in a restaurant again," Vanessa whispers to Jackie. "But this time it's a good kind of nervous." Marcus stands up and the room quiets. Everyone turns to listen. "Welcome to the first meeting of the respect table," he says. 2 weeks ago, something bad happened in this restaurant. Could have ended in anger. But thanks to my brother Jackie Chan's wisdom, it became a new beginning. The room claps and Jackie stands next to Marcus. "In my 50 years in movies," Jackie says, "I've learned that every moment of disrespect is a chance to teach respect. Tonight we are not here to blame. We are here to learn, grow, and understand." Rosa and her husband stand up next. They share their story of facing discrimination and how they overcame it with love. Their granddaughter, now a young chef, talks about how their strength inspired her. Then it's Vanessa's turn. She takes a deep breath and steps into the center of the circle. 2 weeks ago, I was the bad guy in this story, she says. I let my pride and prejudice make me treat someone unfairly. But because of the kindness of Mr. Chan and Mr. Tucker, my mistake has turned into my mission. More stories follow. Leo's grandmother gets a standing ovation when she tells how she went from being refused service to owning her own restaurant. A famous chef shares how people doubted him because of his disability. Young servers talk about their dreams of a fairer industry. The night is full of powerful stories. What started as a moment of discrimination has turned into something much bigger, a movement for kindness, respect, and understanding. And it all began with one small act of forgiveness. As the stories continue, Marcus leans over to Jackie and says, "You know what's crazy? That night when I walked in and saw what was happening, I was so angry. I wanted to yell and fight. But your way, this is so much better." Jackie smiles as he watches Vanessa hand out delicious food from different cultures. The dishes were made by chefs from many restaurants working together. Getting mad is easy, Jackie says. But trying to understand each other is harder. And when we do, it lasts much longer. The event goes on late into the night, but no one wants to leave. People share business cards, make new friends, and even find mentors to guide them. Plans are made for next month's meeting at another restaurant, so even more people can join. As the last guests get ready to go, Rosa's husband lifts his glass and says, "To Jackie Chan and Marcus. These two men showed us that the best way to fight hate isn't with anger but with kindness and learning." Jackie smiles and raises his own glass. "And to Vanessa," he adds, surprising her. "She showed us that it's never too late to learn and change." Marcus looks around his restaurant and sees happy faces filled with hope. He turns to Jackie and says, "You know what? This might be better than all our Rush Hour movies combined." Jackie laughs, patting Marcus on the shoulder. "Maybe this is our best teamwork yet?" Standing at the door of Lup Passion, Marcus and Jackie watch the last cars drive away into the night. What started as something bad has turned into something amazing. A way for people to understand each other better and make the world kinder. Vanessa locks the restaurant doors, but she is no longer just a worker. She is now the director of a new program called the Respect Table Initiative. Tomorrow they will start planning how to bring this idea to more cities. But tonight they enjoy this happy moment. They know that even the worst problems can turn into something good, if people are brave enough to listen, learn, and grow. The restaurant lights go out, but the kindness and lessons from this night will shine forever. This story, which started with hurt feelings and unfairness, has become something much bigger. It shows that every ending can be a new beginning. And when people learn to respect each other, that respect spreads like a bright light in the darkness. If you enjoyed this story, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories filled with adventure, mystery, and excitement. Your support means the world and it helps keep these stories coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.